So, I love heel John Cena. I mean, he's basically Thanos at this point. And I know, you're like, Simon, how dare you say these things? That's why I have said it so early on, because now you can rage at me in the comments. Also, hello, my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs for WWE Backlash, and to give you a headline to underline it just a little bit, I thought it was a really fun show that was easy to watch, and we'll probably never talk about it again. Sounds good? Let's go. Let's up those downs. It was also a great start to Backlash too, because it was Jacob Fatu taking on Drew McIntyre, taking on Damian Priest, taking on LA Knight. And can you believe it? The United States Championship was up for grabs. Everybody started to brawl as well as Knight paired off with Jacob and Drew paired off with Damian. This made all the sense in the world, because that's the WrestleMania feud. Fatu then decided he hated Drew McIntyre, which did make sense because he attacked him on SmackDown, and he gave him the Samoan drop, and he is Samoan, and he even followed up with the hip attack. Surely Jacob has to be a babyface now too, because Drew stopped him by raking his eyes, and when they were mucking around on the top of the turnbuckle, McIntyre did that cool thing where he kind of jumps up, and he throws everybody across the ring. Damn it, Drew, you're good. There was then some teasing that maybe in the future we're going to do more with Damian and LA Knight, because once again they fell out again. They were punching each other in the face. And really, to summarize this one, even though WWE can do too many multi-people matches, usually they're pretty damn good. By that point, everybody had filled up their meters and charged their finishers, so they did kick it into gear. And we got Jacob Fatu going crazy, so LA Knight gave him the BFT. So Damian was like, all right, I'm gonna hit the big chokeslam on LA Knight, when Drew McIntyre was like, awesome, I'll Claymore you right in the face. That was really cool too, because Damian kind of fell on Jacob. McIntyre was like, damn it, that's not what I wanted. 1-2-0. McIntyre was then so enraged, he actually Claymored LA Knight. And he definitely had this match won. When the referee went 1, the referee went 2, and Damian Priest pulled the official out the ring. So, if we are going to add to the Drew McIntyre got screwed list, well, we just gave it another box. He was so mad. In fact, he was so pissed off, him and Damian went to fight in the crowd, and oh my gosh, they climbed onto this box-like structure, and Damian Priest gave him the big chokeslam through these tables. Now listen, it did look absolutely devastating, but it also looked like Drew's head smacked into the concrete floor. I just hope he's all right. That's pretty damn scary. Back in the ring area, though, LA Knight had learned, well, why don't I just throw people into the ring post, which is something that Jacob had been doing earlier as well. When, yep, he was walking around ringside, and somebody from the crowd attacked him. However, it wasn't an asshole fan. Jeff Cobb just debuted in WWE. This was after Solo Sikoa had saved Jacob Fatu as well. I just want to point out, people keep saying really mean things about Solo. I genuinely think he's one of the most entertaining people on the whole roster, and his character is better than ever. Him and Jeff Cobb then proved they were in cahoots though, because they absolutely murdered LA Knight. Honestly, I think this is a great addition. If you know anything about Jeffrey, you know that guy can go. He's an absolute hoss. There's a twist here, there's a turn. Jacob was watching this like, well, nobody told me, and quite frankly, I don't like it. He still got back in the ring and hit the hip attack and the PME, shouldn't call it that, the big moonsault, onto LA Knight to get the 1-2-3. When he left, he was still worried about this, which is essentially his babyface turn. Because he did the heel thing and took advantage of it, but deep down in his tootsie toes, he knows it's not the way. Jacob Fatu was absolutely brilliant throughout all this well, as was everybody. And I'm so pumped for Jeff Cobb, honestly. Just go and watch some of his matches today. And for the usual folk that go, I've never heard of him, one, that is perfectly fine. There's no gatekeeping here. You have to learn about new individuals at some point. But two, just see how you feel after a year. You're gonna love it. Well executed. Give it an up. I now just want to throw it up in here as well for Wade Barrett on commentary so I don't forget. All I'm going to do to wrap it up into a nice neat little package is this was an absolute home run of a performance. Seriously, he is very, very good in that role. When we just got the best surprise, because it was Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Because in my nerd brain, I've been like, oh my gosh, Becky will walk away with the Intercontinental title, and that would work. She could cheat to beat Lyra. We give that belt to a star, which will help it grow, and then of course, in a few weeks, in a few months, whatever you want to do it, Valkyria wins it back. Valkyria. The thing is, everybody must have sat backstage and pondered to themselves, should we do something different? Which is what we did do. When the bell rang, these two just scrapped. When they got into a wrestling match, Lyra was doing better. Dun, dun, dun. She also went submission crazy, which she loved doing. When she went up top, to the turnbuckle. Now, all wrestlers love doing this. They're obsessed. It's a bit like Gollum with the ring. That's when Becky grabbed her and kind of smushed her into the ground. Valkyria was still able to get the superplex, so Lynch was like, all right, well, I'm going to hit you with a neck breaker. Do not forget, that means she was trying to break Lyra's neck. So if you're out there walking around going, Becky Lynch isn't a real heel, I would look at the receipts again. It was proper back and forth stuff though, because then Lyra was hitting a big leg drop off the top rope, and they were trading arm bars, like Pokemon cards. Lynch won that battle and she was able to hit the manhandle slam, but she only got a 1-2-ooh, and that's when they properly got me, because usually in wrestling land we go, well, you can kick out of my finisher because I am beating you, but no. And in fact, Valkyria then came back, she hit the Nightwing, and Becky Lynch kicked out of that too. So my brain was going, wow. Now there was a bit of a caveat here because Becky Lynch had been mucking around with Tina the turnbuckle, so the referee was delayed in making the 3, but all of this just convinced me further. Becky was so damn upset she couldn't get this one though. She kind of wiggled Lyra Valkyria when they had the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up battle, and Lyra was faster than Becky. She got the 1-2-3, and this also kind of tied into that match they had back in 2023. Really, really good. It also goes to show this is why we should be reserved with the surprise roll-up, because this was executed so well. And of course, right after the fact, Becky Lynch was like, I'm going to break her arm, and she snapped it with the armbar. And as Wade said on commentary, sometimes you can feel like a winner, but actually you're a loser. He said it way better than that. Now, do not forget, we have a Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks too, so maybe you can do the title change there. But we have planted the seeds. This could be an excellent feud. And as for the match, they're just great, and they have good chemistry. Go teach science up. And the fun stuff kept on coming, even though it was a little bit obvious. Dominik Mysterio versus Penta for the men's IC title. Now, after the last result, I was like, well, clearly Dominik Mysterio is going to win, because WWE wouldn't do 2 surprises. But then my idiot brain was like, well, maybe that's what they want you to think, and it's a double ruse. I mean, at one point last year, Dominik Mysterio did go double heel. Instead, they went super fast until eventually Penta cut him off with the backstabber. And if you are new to wrestling, it's not a real stabbing of the back. Although actually in wrestling, we have done that before. Dominik's comeback was really good too, because he flew out the ring with a dive and caught Penta in a DDT and smashed him into the floor. So we are slowly doing it, man. He's like a pseudo babyface heel, but eventually that guy is just gonna fly. Really from there it was more wrestling tennis, but given it was a Judgment Day match, I'm sure you were like me and you sat there going, well, they're going to arrive eventually. And they did do, probably because they were panicked, because Penta hit a flipping Mexican Destroyer on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. So out came Carlito. He was basically a distraction though, because JD McDonagh and Finn Balor turned up on the other side of the ring. But can you believe it? Finn Balor took too long to interfere, which meant it didn't happen, and the referee told them to go away. I mean, I don't want to make a prediction here, but it's almost like Finn did that on purpose. Penta didn't trust any of that though, so given that it was 2025, he did a dive, which is when Finn jumped on the ring apron, probably to appease Dom Dom. And yes, El Grande Americano appeared on the other top rope. He basically headbutted Penta with his mask. Dominik Mysterio hit the flag of the splash. What was that? The splash of the frogs. 1, 2, 3. It's quite funny as well, because even though Dominik Mysterio was involved in dirty tactics, I don't think anybody cared. And they sort of booed the Judgment Day and El Grande, and they're like, oh wait, Dom's going to win. But we are planting seeds here. The big question being, when we do get to Mysterio versus Finn, who the flub now is going to play good guy and bad guy? But does it matter? No. Up. When we got to the most intriguing match of the evening, what a world we're living in, Gunther versus Patrick McAfee. Now yes, this went 15 minutes, and yes, Pat fought his ass off, and some people didn't want that. Here's my 2 points. 1, Gunther took like 98% of this match. And 2, anytime McAfee was able to get the ring general, it was like a surprise, especially when he did a backflip out of a German suplex and he landed on his feet. It's also wrestling, and no, sometimes I don't want things to be realistic. Like, there is a time and a place, of course there is, but why would you not make the use of this creative world? And if wrestling did go the other way, I think that'd be kind of dull. Early on though, Gunther just toyed with his food, and even when Pat tried to put on a headlock, he was like, no, and he chucked him out the ring. Pat's game plan also sucked, because he tried to chop Gunther, and that's like a full head coming to me and saying, Simon, I want to enter a bald competition with you. Also, it's all that Gunther needed to hear. He chopped him right back, and it sounded like death. Even when McAfee booted Gunther right in the face, he just laughed it off when he started yelling at Michael Cole, who earlier on had said, I do feel partly responsible for this. I was like, bro, you're completely responsible. You're the one that mouthed off. This is when Patrick did land on his feet and he booted Gunther right in the head, which was a nice tell because, of course, that's what he used to do in the NFL. But Gunther kicked out at 1, like I say, we did it right. He also got in with the powerbomb when he applied the Boston crab, which is very strange because he's not from Boston. And that's when Michael Cole, this dirty little cheater, he left his seat and he went to ringside to essentially become his manager. Gunther then pulled Pat McAfee back to the middle of the ring. But I think he was so mad at Michael Cole, he grabbed him in the ring and was like, you know what, I'm going to powerbomb you instead. Of course, that was a bad idea because McAfee had taken his Phoenix down and once again he tried to attack Gunther, which was another failure. But when the ring general was going to suplex Pat back into the ring, do you know what that cheater Michael Cole did? He held Gunther's foot. Now, actually, this was really good. It was a great 1-2 ooh, and I bet you bought it. McAfee then thought he'd try for the sleeper, which was another dumb idea. So Gunther just lariated his head off as he applied the choke instead. As it turned out, Pat McAfee hadn't had his 8 hours, and even though he tried and he's got to his feet, eventually he did die. Gunther wins. The interesting part was the aftermath, because Gunther did offer his hand to Patrick McAfee, but they didn't shake. Although this does tie into the character, because Gunther has made it very clear when we're in the ring, it is a sacred place. So if you respect it and you respect me, I'll give you your due. I mean, that does ignore the blatant cheating that Michael Cole was trying to do, but I just thought this was super duper fun. Like, it broke up the show. We did it on Backlash. It's not like it was WrestleMania 41. It gives Gunther a win, and now he can probably continue on his stampede till apparently he takes on Goldberg, who he will beat as well. I had no problems with this. It's always something the sports entertainment should do, because we're trying to be entertained by sports. Pat McAfee is also pretty damn good for a guy that doesn't work all the time. Up. When we got to my highlight, I know, I'm an idiot, I'm bald, I'm a fool, somebody should kick me out of the window, but I just don't care. Because John Cena, Randy Orton WWE title, probably like match number 72,642. And yes, Orton got the mega reaction, he was home. They also went back to 1987 because they wrestled for a little while when John Cena poked Randy Orton in the eye because he's a dickhead now. But the issue is, Randy Orton's always been a dickhead, so he poked him right back. Cena then got annoyed because Randy shoulder blocked him, so decided he was going to leave. But of course, Orton was like, no, you're not allowed to do that. He dragged him back. He also got the punches in the corner as they traded sleepers. That man is like WrestleMania 2. When John Cena tried for the AA, it didn't work, and instead he got hit with Randy Orton's patented slam. He still somehow ended up in the STFU, but that's because I think we got to the match where you trade signatures, because then he hit him with his trademark DDT. John eventually went for the AA, but Orton kind of turned that into the RKO, and they have done this before, and I saw Randy Orton talking about this in an interview. When he saw it, he went, yeah, that doesn't make much sense. That one. They then continued to trade because John Cena got the AA for a 1-2 ooh, and Randy Orton got the RKO for a 1-2 ooh. So suppose you were meant to think, I don't know who's going to win. The answer was always definitely Jonathan Cena. Now I've just lied to you, so please forgive me, because Randy didn't actually go for the cover, because Cena rolled out the way, and Randy was like, well, that's totally fine. You're now in the punt position, so I'm going to punt your head off. John moved. That did lead to another AA, though, and another kick out, and that was pretty good. This is when John looked down and was like, oh man, I've got a foot too, I'll punt you. Of course, that was never going to go down because we don't do that anymore, but in the scuffle, John essentially pushed Randy into the referee, so now we didn't have an official. He hit AA instantly and went after the belt, much like he had done at WrestleMania 41, but of course, when he went to swing it, Randy was like, nope, and he hit the RKO, playing the hits. The referee then kind of got murked again thanks to Simba the Still Step, so Orton threw John Cena onto the announce table, which was essentially an AA, but because it didn't break the way that he wanted, he revealed another table. This crowd went crazy because we're all weird, and yep, he gave John Cena AA through table number 2. He also hit an RKO, but of course, the issue was there is no referee. So what are you waiting for? Christmas? No, but apparently he had to see a cover before he did sprint to the ring. Cena kicked out at 2. So this was just also wonderfully ridiculous, and Randy Orton did get another RKO, but at this point everybody was dead. So out came Nick Aldis with his goon squad, and like James Bond villains, they just ran at Randy, who went RKO, 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 RKO. Honestly, it was such simple fun, and I'm a simple man. I thought it was excellent. He then realized he could punch John Cena right in the head, and that's when out came his best friend who doesn't know who he has R-Truth. So I was doing the dance of joy, because do you know who predicted that? This moron. Of course, he got nailed with the RKO, and Randy Orton was shouting at him like, what are you doing, you absolute buffoon? John Cena punched him right in the dick. He used the WWE title, and much like he did last month, he cheated to get the win. Damn. Cena also did a quick promo saying that he's the real world champion and that he has no competition. And the rumor is, at Saturday Night's main event in a couple of weeks, we will do John Cena versus R-Truth. Now, listen, I've seen a lot of madness about this on the internet. Not this guy. It's everything I want in my life and more. Goofy wrestling for life. There was more to prove this as well, because during the press conference, John Cena AA'd R-Truth, who he called Ron, so now we're going to call him Ron Truth, through a table. So I just thought all of this was total shenanigans. It was total smoke and mirrors. But why do we sit down and watch this nonsense? To be entertained, to have fun, to have a good time. That's exactly how I felt. They went so over the top. I am getting it up. Now there is one down I do have to throw in here, because we're going to end as negative Nancy's, because there was 5 matches on this show, and if you go through match number 1, 2, 4, and 5, I believe, there was some sort of interference in every single one. Now if you go back to Raw and you go back to SmackDown, WWE is just doing too much of this, and we need to turn it down. And look, we got away with it in Becky versus Lyra. No one's like, oh, I can't believe we just finished with a clean pin. It was totally cool, and also less is more. So when you do less, it means more. Didn't need to say that twice, but that's just a mini tiny down. It doesn't matter though, because honestly, we will never talk about this again, but to sit down for 3 hours and just want to have a nice feeling in my tum-tum, WWE Backlash gets an up. Good B pay-per-view. Now tell me how wrong I am in the comments below. Before you like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my ups and downs for SmackDown, and then you can see how I got here in the first place. But otherwise, enjoy your Sunday. Know that I love you, and I'll see you soon.